All right, let's get into this Chapter 3 case study. This case study looked into the company Sears and the value that Sears gives its customers in the past, present, and what they're trying to do moving forward. Um, I think that this case study really analyzed the growth, the start and the growth of the company, and the tactics that they were using to hold that growth and prosper as one of the biggest retailers in America. And it also analyzes how that company started to decline and the tactics that are now being used to preserve and restore the company to the state that it was once in. So the first question is analyze Sears using the competitive forces and chain and value chain models. What are Sears' strengths and what are its weaknesses? So I think some of its strengths is this heavy investment into information technology in order to serve their customers in different ways. So some of the examples that were being given, they have a database of over 60 million past and present Sears credit card holders. And they use this database to target different groups and demographics of customers to determine what products they are buying, what brands, when they're buying them, how often, and they have all this information organized in a way that allows them to really analyze everything, all the details, and do things like create special promotions to benefit the customer's buying patterns. And I think that really synced up with this for a while, synced up with this synergy with Sears, where the customers knew that they were going to be tailoring to their shopping experience. Another example that they gave was in 1993, under Arthur Martinez leading the company. They had a $4 billion plan that was spanned over 5 years to renovate all the stores. And basically, the central idea here was that they were making the stores more efficient and more appealing to customers. And it also helped them centralize the store offices and departments a lot and just make it, again, a much more convenient shopping experience for the customer. However, I feel like that this is also a little bit of their weaknesses, was that they're really focusing on convenience in shopping and what information, how much information can we get to make sure that the shopping experience itself is really easy. And yeah, that's a great tool to have for a company, obviously, but I think it also, because so much time and money was spent into that, not nearly as much time and money was spent into looking at new markets or new products, new product lines, new services. And I think that was the start of the downfall, was that Sears was becoming more and more convenient, but also more and more out of touch with its customer base and what the American large-scale market was moving towards. And that kind of goes into the next question. What was the problem facing Sears? What management, organization, and technology factors contributed to this problem? And I think that it's this lack of new, interesting products. They were no longer resonating with their consumers. They wanted new markets, new products, new companies, a new way of purchasing, a new style. And while Sears was heavily investing into technology, they were not reaching out into these new markets and not getting a feel for how their consumers were changing by the numbers and by the demographic, and just the people themselves was all changing, and I don't think Sears was really following that. The next question is, what solution did Sears select? What was the role of technology in the solution? So they had a couple different solutions, and technology played a big role into all of them. I think one of the biggest ones was e-commerce, and this was really opened up in the last several years, where buying things online has become the regular norm for people to do. And it gives these customers the experience to shop, purchase, have products delivered, research products, all online through Sears. And it gives them that presence outside of the store. It brings the store presence to the home of the consumer. They also opened up a lot of new technology projects. One of the biggest ones that they mentioned was reaching into the smart home market. So let that be. I think the example they used was a garage door that's self-automating, can open when you get home, closes behind you, even down to things like uh, music player systems or home entertainment systems. Sears really started moving into this direction to make technology and the modern utilizations of that technology the central focus of their market. Another thing that they mentioned was in-vehicle pickup, which I think again is really more tailoring to shopping convenience than reaching a new market. But nonetheless, it's a good tactic, and this basically allowed the customers to order an object at their local Sears, drive to that Sears, and have that product brought out to them to their cars. So in vehicle pickup, they get to pick it up in their car and go home. So again, I think that last one to me was probably the weakest out of the three as far as just the theme of technology, but nonetheless, it was a method that makes shopping easier for the consumer, which has been their model for a long time now. And the next question is, how effective was the solution selected by Sears? And I feel a little conflicted on this. I think it was effective, but ultimately I don't know how successful it's going to be. I thought a good quote in the book was somebody compared it to a race against time. And this is a good direction for Sears to go towards. Utilizing technology and reaching these new markets obviously is a great step forward for them. But to be completely honest, I don't know if they have enough time left as a company to see it make much of a difference. They're doing a lot of work to repair the damages done to this company through uninspired merchandise, but the company itself is dying, and I think that these efforts are a last wind. But maybe not. Maybe this is a good step forward in order to become a technology-based company. Maybe they're just changing their image entirely, and we'll see the same sort of thing that we saw happen with Amazon. Or this is a weird stretch, but even a company like Legos totally reorganized everything about their company. They were kind of off the map for a while, and then all of a sudden it was like, bam, new management, new products, new market, and it's an entirely different image now. But there's still a lot of controversy over whether or not this will save it from its rapid decline, and I'm tending to lean towards it will not, and we will see Sears as a company fade away pretty quickly with the light of Amazon and Google and large dominant technology companies coming in over them. So my first discussion question is this issue unique to Sears? And if not, what are some other examples of companies failing as the world turns to a new type of market? And I definitely do not think this is unique to Sears. I think this is a universal issue that we're seeing right now in brick and mortar retailers realizing that the world is no longer brick and mortar. It's all digital. If you want to survive, you have to have a digital presence. And I actually mentioned one of the presidential candidates, Andrew Yang, touches on this issue a lot. One of his largest platforms is that jobs in our country are becoming automated. And one of his claims is that in 5 to 10 years, we're going to see 30% of shopping malls across America close down. And the retail industry is one of the top 5 largest jobs in America, and we're going to see these jobs being lost due to automation and an online presence versus a physical presence. And it's simply how our market works now. We're turning towards this ease and not just ease and convenience of shopping, but multi-access. I mean, I could shop for something while sitting here in my living room, or I could shop for the same thing in a different state, all on this one device and from the same store. Even if if I buy them from the same store online. It's where it makes sense for the market to go, and that's where we've been headed for a while. A company that I brought up that is a similar pattern of Sears is the Sam Ash Music Company, which was once the largest prolific instrument retailer across the country, and now it is limited to just a couple states and has a very restricted location and number of stores. And I think the same thing happened. It's just too expensive to hold these physical spaces, whereas a digital presence is virtually just pennies on the dollar for that. My second question is this effort too little or too late for Sears? What could have been done differently and sooner? And this kind of touches back on the question earlier, but yes, I think this is too little, too late for them to recover. I think that what they should have been doing over the years, instead of focusing entirely on customer convenience, they also should have been focusing on new products and where the market was turning for consumers, where they were looking. They should have been looking more towards future markets and emerging markets. And I think this is a really good example of something that was touched on earlier in this class, which is why management is so crucial in supplying information technology services, because I think it's extremely important for us to, if hypothetically, if I was running this business, I think it would be extremely important for me to understand, yes, we need to put money and time and attention towards this technology to organize the information, but it's also equally, if not more important in this case, to put a lot of attention into the people, into the consumers themselves, into their trends, into their marketing, and I think that you have to take into account all of these other aspects of the company and what they're trying to give the consumers in order to serve the consumers on every possible level. So in conclusion, I think that this case study showed me that, or kind of reassured me that the typical model for what we know as retail stores is changing and disappearing. And Sears is a prime example of this once giant in the industry that is now falling to the same economic problems that most retailers are experiencing right now. And it's not even, I don't even know how much blame can be put on Sears individually or these other retail companies. I mean, we could analyze what they should have done differently, but I mean, it was working for them for a while, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it, is what they say. But I think that this kind of shows that it's evident that as of right now, our fundamental methods of our economy and marketing need to be readdressed, because I think this digital age puts an entirely new light on our world as far as retail and just communication with each other in general. And I think that some of our older models of economics and business are going to have to be changed in order for us to move forward as a country. So that's the end of my Chapter 3 case study. This was super, super fun.